Right guys, welcome back to another video. So, last weekend I went to play Blackpool Expo. It's the first time I've been to a game expo in a long time. That might have something to do with the fact that I have kind of moved away from retro a little bit. The collecting side just really kind of ground to a halt there on the retro stuff. I'm still picking stuff up for original Xbox. That's a collection that's not going anywhere. But yeah, the expos, at least for the collecting side of things, have not had much interest for me for the last few years. But of course the main reason you go to these things is to meet up with the guys. And yeah, I'm totally out of the loop. I don't do the meetups very often, but it was really nice to see some of the lads again from YouTube. I'm not going to mention everyone because I'll forget someone and that won't be very nice of me. So, but yeah, yeah, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry though. And although I thought I'd set off on the Friday in plenty of time to make it down there for the Friday night knees up, the legendary pre-party. Yeah, I got stuck in traffic pretty much all the way from Nottingham to Blackpool. Somehow the rush hour managed to last about 5 hours and on my entire route. But yeah, so got stuck in a lot of traffic, so I got down there quite a bit later than I would have liked to, and had some food, met up with my good friend Adam Korolick, who was down there, who'd been brought in to be on a few panels as a guest. So we went and had some dinner and got settled at the hotel, and then went down to the Norbreck Hotel, the castle of Norbreck. That quite dilapidated looking hotel on the end of the front of Blackpool, and tried to find the lads and did not find the lads. Yeah, Stu Tootie had sent me some information as to where this mysterious secret bar was, but I couldn't find it. Yeah, not very secret. There is a second bar to the right of the entrance of the hotel. I didn't look there. I looked at the main bar and down the other side of the hotel near the conference area. So completely missed the meetup on the Friday night. Yeah, but still had some fun. We still had, me and Adam still had a walk around on the Friday night and such. But of course then it came to the event, the Saturday and Sunday. To begin with, I wasn't sure whether I was going to stay for the whole weekend. I ended up staying till about halfway through Sunday, so I had a good amount of time there. And yeah, I did have a good chat with some of the lads. Not long enough, you know. I wish it had been longer. I wish I'd had more time to spend with you guys and such. But that's just the way it goes, isn't it? But I did manage to have a word with a few of you lads. And yeah, Blackpool Expo. It was good, yeah. As far as the stalls go and the sellers, there wasn't a hell of a lot there, but I wasn't really there for that. Like I said, I was there mainly for the meetup and for the games, because, oh man, it's so nice. I don't get a chance to play the old cabs very often. I know there's things like Arcade Club and things like that, but I just don't get around to doing it, to going to those places. So it's very rare for me to actually have a chance to play some of these old cabs, and it's just so fun. It's like time travel, and I don't have to, you know, describe the appeal to anybody who does it, of course, but to anybody that doesn't ever really play the old stuff anymore, yeah, it's like time travel. It really is. Playing it on the old original cabs with the proper screens and everything, it puts you back in that place. You know, and who doesn't want to time travel? Hello? But yeah, so the main game that I was hoping to play there and did get to play was, of course, Atari Star Wars. It's a lot of people's favourite old arcade game. It's certainly mine. And they had two versions of it. There's a standing up cab and the sitting down cab, of course. Now, it was quite loud in there, so we didn't quite have the perfect experience of playing the Atari Star Wars cab, because half of the experience is the music and the sound effects. Oh, it just drips nostalgia. And but I did get to play it, and it was a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm still pretty good at it, yeah. And I was quite happy to see that the cab was well calibrated. Not perfect, but it was well calibrated. This the Atari Star Wars cab, if you don't know already, it has a very bespoke controller. There's a name for it. I'm not going to remember it now. Someone in the comments, you can tell me there's a name for this particular type of kind of flight controller that you have. for Atari Star Wars, and sometimes they can be quite loosely calibrated or quite sloppy. Of course, these arcades are over 30 years old now and the rest. So yeah, it's you don't always find one that's calibrated right. This one wasn't. It fucking played lovely. Yeah. So there was that. What else? Oh, Sega Rally. Kung Fu Master is one of my all-time favourites as a kid. Me and Adam managed to play through and beat Simpsons Arcade. That's something I've never done before. We did have infinite continues, of course, because it was play Blackpool, and once you pay to get in, all the arcades are free. So yeah, we did have kind of cheated on the old infinite continues there, but we did manage to beat Simpsons Arcade. Played a bit on the pinball as well. Well, a lot of the old shooters. Was it called Golf? Is it Golf? Yeah, Golf, I think. Yeah, it's one of my old favourites. And another one, oh god, I'm not going to remember the name of it. There was another really, really old school shooter along the same lines of kind of Golf. But it did something that I've not noticed before. It did this perspective, so you kind of, almost like you're flying into the screen, and the enemies are coming at you, getting slightly bigger, the sprites coming towards you, as opposed to just down the screen. They're actually coming towards you, this 3D effect going on, almost, perspective at least, effect. I can't remember what that game's called now, but it worked really, really well. And, I don't know, yeah, again, that time travel is something impressive, even though these really basic games, when you put yourself in that mindset of actually going back and imagining what these games were like, or how impressive they were when they first came out, and it's nice to be able to access that same kind of impression that you got when you were younger. But so yeah, it was really, really fun playing on all the arcades. And I did pick up a couple of things actually. I went with a bunch of stuff to trade. I went with a car boot full of stuff to trade, and I just never got around to it. I didn't really ask any of the lads if they had any. I didn't really try very hard, to be honest. So yeah, I wasn't asking anyone if they had stuff for trade. I didn't really go to the stalls, and ask about trades in a big way. I did do one trade, but I didn't push it very hard. So yeah, but these are the two games that I did get. And the first one is Mashed Fully Loaded. So it's really well thought of racer on the original Xbox and really good graphics. It's another one that kind of stood out at the time for just, well, is it that one? Is it that one? Am I talking out of my arse? It's good. I'm not sure if it's the one I was thinking of with the great graphics. That might have been the Accuser Missions racing game. Anyway, Mashed, Fully Loaded, decent game. And this one called Powerdrome, which I got pretty much because on the box it says that official Xbox magazine has said this is the fastest game we've ever played. So I thought, well, I've got to check that out then. The fastest game you've ever played, that's high praise. Let's see what that's like. So yeah, I traded a couple of things in for those two games. He probably got a better deal than I did, to be honest. I wasn't too discerning about it. I just said, yeah, here, I'll have this stuff, give me that, yep, that done. So yeah. But Adam Korlick, who come over for the convention as a guest, he did bring me a couple of things as well. God love him, he's been picking up some games for me overseas, and to save some shipping, as that special relationship between the US and the UK doesn't seem to extend to shipping. We have to pay a bit of a premium. But yeah, so I've got a couple of things here for the collection, and the first one is PSVR, the demo disc, basically. Now, I already have the demo disc. I have the games of the demo disc, but it only got a physical release in America. So now I have the box for it. At the time that I asked after this, and the other game that I'm about to show you, I was still on the fence, still teetering as to whether or not to do a full set physical for the PSVR. I think since then I've kind of decided I'm not going to bother, because already there's just a little bit too much filler, and I'm really having to try to be strict with myself to move away from anything that's filler. I just don't have the space. The money could be spent on other things at the minute. We've got house stuff to fix and all upgrades, and so yeah, I'm trying to get away from collecting anything that isn't stuff I actually want to play. So yeah, no filler in my collection. Not much filler in my collection. There's a little bit there, but to be fair, this is actually a really good demo disc. I already have it, but there's a box for it. So yeah, and this one is pretty cool to have. I'll show it first. It's Pixel Gear. Now this came out through a company called Limited Run. Oh, it's still sealed. Nice. Yeah. It came out through a company called Limited Run. Now, they do, as you would expect their name to suggest they do, they put out limited runs of games, very limited runs, sometimes just a few hundred, sometimes a couple of thousand copies, and then that's it. So they do a deal with the developers to put out whatever game they choose to on disc, and yeah, I just so much prefer to own my games physically. Pixel Gear is a very basic but very fun little wave shooter, and it's one of the first games out on PSVR, and because of that it is one of the first games I bought and played. Obviously when you get the headset, especially if you bought it near a launch. I didn't get it at launch, but certainly a lot nearer to launch than it is now. It was worth picking up because it was only a couple of quid online. Oh god, collectors are insane. This is what I'm trying to move away from, but again, the decision to buy this was before I had a little epiphany. But collectors are insane. I already own this game, and I bought it for about £2.50 on a sale, digital. This physical box version was $35. $35, which is what, about 25 quid, something like that. So 25 quid for a game that I already own digitally, that I got for a hell of a lot less digitally, and that I will never open. But yeah, it's a fun game, very simple, definitely not worth $35, but there it is. But that's that. Yeah, so play Blackpool was a lot of fun. Got to meet the legend that is Jeff Minter. Jeff Minter, I'm sure everybody already knows, but he made Tempest 2000, and he also made Polybius. Polybius on the PSVR is one of my favourite early releases. I bought it actually when it midnight when it launched. I believe it's midnight launch. I bought it at launch anyway. And Polybius, if you don't know the story behind Polybius, this was a mythical arcade game that probably didn't exist, but the Angry Video Game Nerd did a video about this, and it was this mythical arcade game that if you played it, put you into a trance or some other magic chicanery. Is that the right word? Anyway, Jeff Minter made a PSVR game called Polybius, and it was the idea of it was based on this original kind of legend. And Polybius on PSVR certainly does have the capacity to put you into a trance because it's just insane psychedelic colours. It's all in this kind of old kind of 8-bit retro arcade style graphics, very retro looking, but of course with modern power behind it, which means you get a hell of a lot going on at once. It means it's super smooth. It runs at is it 120? I think it runs at 120 hertz or something. It's super smooth, and it's just a really good, really fun arcade shooter. And I was talking to Jeff about that and some of his upcoming games, and it was really nice to meet him. He seems like a really cool fella. Apparently, Polybius still hasn't made him any profit, and that's criminal. If you own a PSVR and you want something a bit different and you haven't tried Polybius yet, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, you know, if how to sell it if you don't already don't already know what it is. It's just really psychedelic, really fast shooter. It looks beautiful, retro, but beautiful, and it's just very unique. And yeah, it's so criminal that he hasn't made any profit on it yet. I think that he said it was something to do with the way that he funded the game initially. He got an advance from Sony to develop the game, and that meant that they kind of tied him into this scheme whereby they take all the profits until they recoup that investment, sort of thing. Something along those lines. I'm sure he's paying interest as well, but basically he hasn't made any profit yet on Polybius. So yeah, it must. I imagine it must be quite hard as an indie developer to make profit on the PSVR, because of course you have that smaller user install base to begin with, you know, compared to a normal console. There's only 3 million headsets, which is a lot for VR. It's a lot more than the other major headsets, but 3 million is still a relatively low number as a maximum user pool, because of course then you start trimming it down from, is it your genre, is it the price you want to pay, have you heard good things about it, you know. So yeah, anyway, so I imagine it must be quite difficult for indie developers to make a profit on PSVR. I don't know. You know, we've heard before as well that, you know, the PS Store has a higher premium the publishers have to put onto their games than Steam, of course. Games are always cheaper on Steam, the same games as they would be on PSVR on the PS Store. So yeah, Sony doesn't make it easy, it seems, for indie developers to get their stuff out there and to make some money, because surely you want those developers to do well. Because if they make a profit, if they do well, if it means it's worth it for them, they're going to make more games. And more games means... And they're going to get better at making those games. You know, the second, third games that these people make, you know, you've got to make it easier for those smaller studios to do well. Because they're going to bring you your repeat business. Anyway, but Jeff Minter has got a couple other little games coming out for PSVR. One of them I'm very interested in. I'm definitely going to get, called Grid Runner. Now, I'm sure people can tell me, I think Grid Runner was an existing old game, but he's put this into PSVR and it's there with all the kind of 3D particle effects and such. It's a fun game. I got to play it at the conference and yeah, it's good. Again, very retro looking, that 8-bit arcade style, those very, you know, those primary colours, those pixelated look, but it's obviously souped up with modern power. So again, very smooth, lots of particle effects, lots of 3D stuff going on. So yeah, it's fun to play, and yeah, it's just really crazy, just so much happening all at once on the screen, and you really have to concentrate to keep your eye and to be able to dodge the projectiles. Anyway, Grid Runner, so look out for that. But Polybius, again, if you've got PSVR and you haven't tried it already, I think it's worth checking out. It's very unique. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So that's it. That was Play Blackpool, really. Yeah, again, spent a lot of time with Adam hanging out. He did a couple of panels, one on the Dreamcast, and one later on that I missed because I had to go on it was a YouTubers panel. And yeah, we had a lot of fun, and got to saw the illuminations, and they were pretty impressive. Yeah, and they were herbally enhanced, shall we say, as I went past. So as you can imagine, I was quite impressed. Yeah, the Blackpool illuminations all down the front, absolutely amazing. Just goes on forever. Yeah, and luckily I was driving very, very slowly past and enjoyed the illuminations. Apparently they were only up for a couple of weeks. It's madness. How much effort goes into those things? Where do they go when they're finished? They've got to be displayed somewhere else, surely. What a waste if they're not. Yeah, but that was it. So that was Play Blackpool, and yeah, I hope to get to some more conventions in future, definitely. This is the first one I've been to in a long time, and I had a lot of fun. So nice to go back and play those old cabs again. Yeah, that was really good, and nice to see everyone, of course. And that's it, so Play Blackpool, that was cool. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.